Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel? Or that white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
The Red Apple Media Podcast Network presents This is Protecting America. Now, here's Emmy-winning journalist Rita Cosby.
Welcome to another edition of Protecting America. I'm Rita Cosby. Well, there are many huge issues that are a big concern for the world right now, and Hungary is often leading the way to maintain security and bring all voices and all faiths to the forefront. Our guest today is the head of CPAC Hungary, the Conservative Political Action Conference, which you know is very big here in the United States and now also over there. And joining us now is lawyer, also director of the Center for Fundamental Rights, and also the CPAC Hungary Director General, Miklos Szantho. So great to have you here, Mr. Director General. It's wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Rita, for having me. Hi to everyone.
You know, tell us how big, first off, CPAC Hungary is. I've been hearing a lot about it, and I know you just recently had another one not too long ago. How big is it, and who comes?
It's a success story, not only because of me, but with my colleagues and with our American partners here in the U.S., but it's also mirrored. I mean, the success of CPAC Hungary is mirrored by the very frustrated and angry leftist mainstream media. And I always say that if the leftist is frustrated about us, then we are successful. So this was the third edition of CPAC in Budapest. The first year when we organized CPAC in my home country, that was 2022, and for the first CPAC, the slogan was God, Homeland, and Family. So we tried to lay down the most important fundamental values of our international conservative community. In the second year, in 2023, at the second CPAC Hungary, we changed the slogan and we said that united we stand, to show the world that we conservatives, we nationalists, we common sense people, although we are located and rooted in our deep national and local traditions, we can unite at the international level in order to fight the woke, in order to fight this progressive neo-Marxist insanity. And in this year, we declared that let's drain the swamp. Let's drain the swamp in Brussels and in Washington, because we Hungarian and American conservatives, we do have more or less the same enemy, and that enemy is called not only woke, but the deep state. You do have your deep state here in Washington, D.C., the swamp, but we also do have our deep state in Brussels, the European Union. We Hungarians, we are proud members of the European Union, but we do defend our sovereignty, we do defend our national identity, we do defend our faith, and we do defend our borders. And it's very sad to say, but those values and those policies are not in line with the progressive ideas and ideology of Brussels. So it's an everyday struggle to defend Hungarian sovereignty, and in order to do that, our intention is to build a large global coalition of anti-globalist forces, and CPAC Hungary is the flagship initiative or flagship project for that. And it's a huge success. This year we did have more than 3,000 attendees.
Wow. So how do you distinguish sort of the difference of the fight here in America versus some of these policies of progressives versus what's going on in Hungary? Or are they very similar? I should say Hungary versus Brussels.
Look, as I mentioned, the enemy is called deep state and woke. And the woke agenda is the very same in South America, in North America, in the U.S., in Europe, or in Israel, or in Australia, or in Japan. Their goal is to undermine the three values of God, homeland, and family. They are trying to undermine the Judeo-Christian foundation of our civilization. They are trying to undermine national identity and state sovereignty. And last but not least, with this whole LGBTQAI plus gender propaganda, they are trying to undermine the importance and original nature of the family. And it's very visible, of course, sadly, here in the U.S., but it's also very visible in Europe and in Hungary as well, although we do have a right-wing conservative government since 2010. And the Hungarian legal environment, the Hungarian social environment, and the Hungarian constitution highlights those mentioned values. But still, the woke agenda, the woke popular culture, the woke media is existing and operating in Hungary as well. So we do feel that we have the very same enemy, we have the very same threat, and that is why we should build a global coalition, because the threat is global. Their methods are global. George Soros is deploying the very same tactics here in Europe or in the US, and we should give a jointly, commonly orchestrated answer to that.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
Going to the gym can be discouraging, especially if you're putting in the work but barely seeing changes. But with Tonal, you can actually see your progress with every workout. Tonal provides the convenience of a full gym and the expertise of a personal trainer anytime at home with one sleek system. Designed to reduce your mental load, Tonal is the ultimate strength training system, helping you focus less on workout planning and more on getting results. No more second-guessing your technique. Tonal gives you real-time coaching cues to dial in your form and help you lift safely and effectively. After a quick assessment, Tonal sets the optimal weight for every move and adjusts in 1 pound increments as you get stronger, so you're always challenged. Tonal lets you choose from a variety of expert-led workouts, from strength to arrow hit to yoga and mobility, to keep you coming back for more. For a limited time, go to Tonal.com to get $500 off your Tonal purchase, plus a free 4-year warranty. That's Tonal.com for $500 off, plus a free 4-year warranty. Tonal.com.
What trends do you see in Europe? Because I know of late we've seen sort of mixed results. It's right there, of course, in your backyard there. What do you see as some of the trends? Some countries have gone more conservative leadership, others have gone the other way. Is it sort of a mixed bag, or are you seeing a trend?
Look, there is, of course, there are positive developments even in Western Europe. There are strong conservative or right-wing or populist movements and parties in Spain, in France, in Austria, in the Netherlands, in Belgium. In Italy, Giorgia Meloni is the prime minister from the right-wing Fratelli d'Italia, Brothers of Italy. So it's true that still in Western Europe there are conservatives, and of course in Central Europe, which is a different story, conservatism is much more vital, much more stronger. But in general, I'm really sorry to say this, but in general, the conservative cause, or I would rather say the cause of the common sense, is lost in Western Europe. But the Western civilization in Europe can be saved in Central and Eastern Europe, where people and the popular culture is not that sensitized and not that woke like in Germany or in the United Kingdom.
Why is that? Why do you see it in certain parts? I think for Americans to understand why in certain places it's happening and in others it's not. And you brought up UK, obviously, as a perfect example of where it's going, in that direction towards woke. But why is that happening in certain places and not others?
Look, it's because of historical reasons. In Western Europe, after the Second World War, first of all of the conservative movements were accused of being Nazi or fascist or something like that. So they were originally in the defensive, and on the other hand, it's a very strange phenomena. But while the societies of the socialist countries, because of the resistance against communism, remained much more on the grounds of common sense, in Western Europe, all of the radical left-wing neo-Marxist ideas began to spread freely. And what we see nowadays in Western Europe, or in Europe in general, is that while communism collapsed 30 years ago in Central Europe, it emerged in the past 10 or 15 years in Western Europe. So all of those very developed countries like Germany, like Spain, like France, like the Netherlands, like the United Kingdom, woke, which is the new form of communism. It's a neo-Marxist agenda with cancel culture, with political correctness, with those social justice warriors. Woke, neo-Marxism became the mainstream. They do control the universities, the academic sector, the media, because it's a very old and by Hungarians, a very well-known socialist Marxist strategy that in order to control politics, first of all, you should control culture. You should win the cultural war for the culture, and if you dominate popular culture, then it will be very easy to win the elections. And that is the very strategy they deployed in Western Europe, and seemingly it works.
What is the sort of key to success in Hungary? Because it seems that they sort of stand as a beacon in many ways in this fight. What can America learn from Hungary on these issues?
Last year, at CPAC Hungary in Budapest, Prime Minister Viktor Orbán the recipe for conservative success, a 12-point recipe. It's about how to organize, how to establish institutions, how to do the networking activities, etc. But the most important point of the Prime Minister was not to play by the liberals' rules. And that's a very important political advice, because what we have seen in the past decades in Western Europe, that all of the so-called center-right or formally Christian democratic parties began to copy-paste the policies and the politics of the leftist and liberal parties. They began to play by the liberals' rules if it comes to migration, if it comes to the sexual revolution, if it comes to border protection, the gender issues, etc. And nowadays, there is no difference between a center-right and the center-left party in Western Europe. At the European level, it's like a more or less similar uniparty system what you did have here in the U.S. before Trump, with the Democrats and the elites of the Democrats and the Republicans. What you have in Europe is that social democrats and so-called center-right parties and the liberals and the Greens, they are the same political family. While we in Hungary, Hungarian conservatives, declared that, first of all, we will stick to our Judeo-Christian heritage. This is a fact that is also highlighted in the Hungarian constitution. We also declared that we will protect, and it's a constitutional value, that we will protect the Hungarian national identity and state sovereignty. And the most important thing, what is also enshrined by the Hungarian constitution, that every and each child has the right to his or her sexual identity at birth. So it protects the children against gender propaganda. And of course, what happened? Brussels and the deep state of the European Union launched political and legal procedures against Hungary, not because of some kind of problems with the democracy or rule of law, but because of those values. Because we do have a very different understanding of the fundamental values of Europe and of the Western civilization. They would like to see a totally multicultural United States of Europe, without nations, without national identities. They would like to have or see a Europe based on gender ideology, and they even do not understand or know the word or the expression border protection. While, on the other hand, we Hungarians, because we do not play by the liberals' rules, we do protect our borders, we do protect our identity, we do protect our sovereignty, and we do protect our faith. And that is what I can advise to our American conservative friends as well.
Tell us about Hungary's policy on illegal immigration, and what can America learn from Hungary on this?
The original problem, if it comes to migration, is, of course, not illegal migration itself, but demography. Europe also suffers because there is a decrease in the population. Fertility rates are very low all over Europe, and the leaders of the deep state of the European Union do offer as a solution migration. They do not want to, or they do not support any kind of ideas which would help families to have more children. They do not support the Hungarian government's different ideas and policies and lawmaking which guarantees additional support, financial support for families to have more and more children. The only solution in the eyes of the leaders of the European Union is to invite illegal migrants to Europe in order to handle the demographic crisis. And in this issue as well, Hungary refused this solution. The Hungarian concept is based on to build up a so-called work-fair society instead of a welfare society. And in a work-fair society, every and each citizen can work if he or she wants to. And if someone works, then via the taxation system, a very generous amount of financial support will be guaranteed if the families choose to have 1, 2, 3 or more children. And this state policy is also mirrored by the increasing Hungarian fertility rate. So, and as this is the Hungarian answer, supporting families, of course, on the other hand, we do not want to have illegal migrants to the country because we do not want to solve the demographic crisis with the illegal migrants, but we would like to solve this problem with the help of the Hungarian families. That is the Hungarian recipe, which recipe is refused by the European Union. And what is very, I would say, in political correct terms, interesting, that just a few months ago, Brussels, the European Union, fined Hungary because of the border protection. The fine is about 200 million euros, just because Hungary protects its borders and refused to let illegal migrants to the country. And the answer from Brussels is no good words, but historically high amount of financial fine.
Wow. So to explain, Hungary protects its borders very much. They try to foster growth within, but you also have a strong border system, right, is what you're saying as well, just from a protection standpoint.
Exactly. We actually built that wall on the southern border of Hungary without the help of the European Union, but with the help of the Hungarian budget. And this is not only the external border of Hungary, but it is the external border of the European Union. So in that way, it's a very absurd situation that Hungary does protect the external border of the European Union, and the answer is financial punishment. But to tell the truth, we are more or less used to this situation in the past 14 years.
You know, you also, before I let you go, Mr. Director General, our good friend Brian Leib, who's also a senior fellow there at your organization, tells me that next month, I think you're going to be bringing leaders from around the world to Budapest for the second annual Pro-Israel. Tell us about that and why that's so important.
That's right. Hungarian conservatives are maybe the only one remaining allies of Israel and the people of Israel in the European Union. Although you would say, based on the false misinformation of the New York Times, that Hungarian conservatives are anti-Semites, in fact, as well in the United States, what you can see in campuses all over Western Europe, there are very huge anti-Semite, anti-Israel demonstrations, and even leftist liberal politicians do have an anti-Israelist, anti-Zionist political behavior. Why? On the contrary, Hungarian conservatives did refuse all of the different resolutions in the European Union, or in the UN condemning Israel. And in every and each time, Hungarian conservatives stand shoulder to shoulder with our friends with Israel. Of course, this friendship was became even stronger after the deadly attack of the Hamas against the innocent Jewish people. And with the very first pro-Israel conference last year, just 2 days after the Hamas attack, we showed that this support of ours is true and honest. And with this international conference in Budapest that will take place on the 1st of October, we would show to the entire international community and to our friends, not only in Europe, but here in the U.S. as well, that as well as Donald Trump, Hungarian conservatives are the allies of the people of Israel, because we are the members of the very same Judeo-Christian civilization.
Well, this is really powerful. You have educated us, I think, so much about so many of the values of Hungary, also what CPAC Hungary does. And I wish you also so much luck, too, at this next pro-Israel conference. Obviously, it is so important and so timely. And I'm so glad we got to talk about so many big topics that I'm sure are discussed at CPAC Hungary, and I'm sure will be on the plate also next year. And, of course, we'll see what happens with the U.S. election right around the corner, because, of course, that could have a very big impact as well. Everybody be sure to subscribe and share to this podcast. And, Mr. Director General, thank you so much for being here. It was wonderful to have you, and also to enlighten us and inform us about all the great things that are going on and the importance of some of the steps happening there in Hungary to explain it. I think the world is interconnected, and protecting Europe, protecting the world, and protecting America all go hand in hand. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Fingers crossed for you for the 5th of November, and hopefully maybe we could see each other next year at the upcoming CPAC Hungary.
And everybody, I'll be back soon with another great edition of Protecting America. And of course, you can catch me every weeknight, 10 p.m. to midnight on the legendary WABC Radio. This is Rita Cosby, and thanks for all you do to protect America.